Welcome, fellow spellcasters, to Flip4Crypt, where we address all things magic. I'm your host, Tony B. Today, we're going to go over some Rush. Today is basically a deck tech on a deck I built. I'm going to go over a couple cards with you. We're going to start now. This deck is basically Control and Death Shadow. And Death Shadow is 1 black for a 13/13 avatar. Death Shadow gets -X/-X, where X is your life total. In Rush, you start out with 10 life, so it's a 1-drop 3/3. That's really good. There are a couple variations of this deck that I'm thinking about. This is just one of them. Basically like a rough draft, and you can kind of play around with it as you shift metas or whatever. So we're going to start out with our land base. We got 2 Watery Graves. Watery Grave helps us with Death Shadow because it does 2 damage as it comes into play if you choose to. So that can help us with Death Shadow. And then Underground Sea, we have to just kind of mana fix. We also have Polluted Delta and Flooded Strands. Now these Shocklands also help to lower our life. We don't want to lower our life too much because then game over. Somebody could just lightning bolt you out of the game if you don't have a Force of Will in your hand. Luckily for you, we have a couple of free counter spells. Let's start in our counter spell section here, which is most of the deck. It's a lot of control. Force of Will is our first one. 3 blue instant. You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay Force of Will's casting cost. And then it counters target spell, any spell, which is really, really good. So it's a free counter spell essentially. We also have Daze, which is 1 blue and an instant. And you may return an island to your hand. Let me start over here. You may return an island you control to its owner's hand instead of paying Daze's mana cost. With our Watery Graves and our Underground Seas, we can just return those instead of paying for Daze. And if your opponent tapped out, their spell is countered because it reads counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. Our next one is Spell Pierce for 1 blue instant. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. You're going to run into a lot of burn in this format. It's very fast. You only start out with 10 life. So stuff like that. People are tapping out. They're going to be shocking you. They're going to be lightning bolting you. So they're going to be countering your stuff. They're going to run stuff like this. It's basically mini Legacy with an extra banned list. On to our next counter spell here. Flusterstorm is a 1 blue instant, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1. That sounds familiar here. Just like Daze, only it comes with Storm, and it doesn't give you the ability to pay out of it. Our next one is Miscast, a new one from M21. 1 blue instant, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. There are people that are going to be trying to stop your Death Shadow from hitting the battlefield. It's going to be crucial that that happens very early, and you take a couple damage. If you do 7 damage to yourself, if you take 7 damage or you lose 7 life in total and you swing with your Death Shadow, that is 10 life. So a 1-on-1, it will end the game. Kinda sort of a counterspell, Misdirection can help you out big time. This is another free spell. 3 blue for an instant. You may exile a blue card from your hand rather than paying Misdirection's mana cost, and then you change the target of target spell with a single target. That is awesome. So anything that single targets anything, you can just switcheroo. You will burn me for 3. No, I will burn you for 3, sir. Or I will burn your creature for 3 I bet you have on the battlefield. I'll take out your Delver or something like that. For the creatures, obviously we have Death Shadow. That's one of them. And the other ones are Snapcaster Mage. This allows us to recast our Force of Wills, Dazes, Misdirection, stuff like that. Anything free in the graveyard that you can recast real quick. just by flashing in. It has flashes. Okay, let me read it to you. It's a 1 in a blue 2/1 human wizard with flash. When Snapcaster Mage enters the battlefield, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. You may cast that card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. Okay, so you can target your Force of Will with this, then remove the blue card in your hand and pay 1 life to then cast your Force of Will yet again. Same with Daze, return an island to your hand. Same with Misdirection, so on and so forth. The other creature card we have in the deck is Spellskite. This allows us to protect our Death Shadow. We don't really need to protect our Snapcaster. There's no other. It's basically just put in here to pay life to increase the power and toughness of our Death Shadow to then protect it. Your Spellskite will take the hit. It will die or whatever happens to it. It will take whatever hit was aimed at your Death Shadow for 2 life. So this kind of deters your opponents from doing that to you. So, alright, for that deck tech, we're calling that there. Alright, so that's it for our Rush deck tech today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Tony B once again for Flip4Crypt Games. I just wanted to give a shout out to my local game store, Game On, here in Saginaw, Michigan. They do all sorts of online stuff, so you don't actually have to live in Saginaw, Michigan in order to support this store. They have a great selection. They're more than willing to help you out. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time on Flip4Crypt.